because we're going to talk about something else this evening, one of them yellow books. But I'm going to read from a project that is in progress. That's kind of like a Madonna and Child project to a degree. And over the course of the confinement, I was commissioned by a dear friend of mine to write a piece for an installation in the St. Louis Lambert International Airport over in Missouri. The brief was a very simple one. He had to respond to a famous Missourian of some standing, and ended up writing a series of dedications to Laura Lee Burridge, William Burridge's mother, who wrote several books for the Coca-Cola Corporation in the 1940s on flower arrangement and decorative horticulture in the house, all these sorts of things. There seemed to be a kind of very lovely through line to my mind between the work that she was doing and her son's subsequent experiments with collage, cut-up, all these sorts of things. So I took her books, I cut them in pieces, and I wrote a collection based on those particular leaves, so to speak. So I'm just going to read the title piece from the collection, called Magnolia or Redbud. You set the table for dinner, and joining the ranks of the so-called modern flowers and water-loving animals, know that your interest needs break the line, needs make up for other kinds of deficiency. So you leave. You search the garden for sunken things, for magnolia or redbud or a second piece of fruit, for treasured and numbered heirlooms and conversations that will adorn the room like severed ends in vinegar, deep water, or 4 feet of snow. The leaves that you had overlooked whilst the Indian head blooms, they flourish and multiply everywhere now, becoming stalwart composites like American pewter or a number of museums throughout the country. But here, the apparent interest of our center, the center of our interest is something else. Penetrating the motif is a little garden saint as you imagine it. Sufficiently decorative alone, it moves things like the weather. Apparently effective but inexpensive, it spikes like Florida, the saint, scrolling book or tablecloth. We look to the saint and we are expecting a flat surface, no desert, no vagabond object, but something stable, and find only a dark center, a wind of interest dappled like light through ice. Everything radiates according to inclination and form. And so you move. You move only to mock the orange blossoms and white doves, hard work, and find your ideas all repeated in the fauna and in birds that form a we set in deep chestnut, orange, everlastings, nicotiana, and cosmos. You remember last winter in an uncovered garden when you realize that hollyhocks are not as dependable as cut flowers, and you think of magnolia and redbud again. But now, as the idea rises, you know you need leave the rest for the birds, and as decoration without cost, you relate pictures and forms, recalling that around 1860, an art flourished in England and America called skeletonizing. Watching the men pick the lilies was instructive. They donned rubber boots and waded into the pool. As soon as they picked one lily, they turned it upside down and waded back to shore, a season of something. Put it in a bucket of water, the lily, as though they were a forefather for every flower, the lily, and suspect the lowly origin of every picture, painted. To prevent the lilies from closing at night, they drop a little warm water, a little paraffin, into the center of each flower. Now incorporated, the lily can forget the world, knowing that the past stands for integrity, like a fire burning practically all the time. So,